You are welcome once again to Evangelist Nyima Kalu TV, Treasury of Excellent Knowledge. I'm your serviceable servant, Evangelist Nyima Kalu. Real quick, I want to speak on the topic, men's benefits in marriage. Some people have concluded that marriage has no benefit for men. And some say that marriage is not an achievement. Some also believe it, both those who say it and those who hear them. Some of their hearers believe their statements. But is it really true? The answer is no. First of all, marriage is an achievement, and there are lots of benefits in marriage. The reason is that most people do not understand the purpose of marriage. And when the purpose of anything is misunderstood, the abuse of the same thing is inevitable, and the failure in running the same thing is inevitable. It is as a matter of understanding why marrying, then why marrying will also build the concept of the qualities, characters, orientation, and the vision and the projects we must pursue through the marriage. But when there is no understanding, there can never be focus. Focus will be lacking. Vision will be lacking. The purpose will never be pursued, and accomplishment will never exist. That is where the problem lies. Is marriage a problem? The marriage is never a problem. Then why the problems in marriage that people experience? It is because of the problematic people in marriage. In every marriage, I mean among each two couples, it's either the two of them are inexperienced. I mean, when I say inexperienced, I include it is either they are not well trained to be a husband and a wife, or one of them is well trained while the other one is not well trained. So when there is someone who is not trained to be a marriage partner, the person is a saboteur inside of that marriage, and the marriage will find it difficult to work and survive. Marriage is made for two matured people. I'm not talking about age maturity. I'm talking about sense maturity and attitudinal maturity. People who reason well, who know why they do what they do, and the people who are disciplined enough. Two people who are disciplined enough. It takes these two things, good orientation, proper self-discipline, for people to build faithfulness. And the marriage is made for two faithful people, two visionary people who should work together to form a family, to train up the children, to establish the children, to build the children to be their successors. Marriage institutes the primary group of people in the world according to divine arrangement. Every community starts from family, and God has instituted it that marriage should be the means to forming the family. You form the family, from family you form kindred, from kindred you form compound, you form local village, you form the local government communities, state communities, national community, then the world at large, continent, and the races, ethnicities. God instituted marriage. Marriage did not just happen by accident. The reason is that the majority of human beings have deviated from God. So many cannot even know or tell of the initiation of marriage. And this is where they miss it. This is where they miss the understanding of the purpose. And this is where both their failure and the abuse of marriage start from, because of lack of understanding of the initiation of marriage and why marriage was initiated. So, I'm not here teaching on marriage fully. Now, I have laid the preamble. What are the benefits of men in marriage? That is the question from Gege in a video, and many others who ask that question. Because according to Gege's philosophy, men should no longer marry. Rather, they should be having baby mamas, have children, but do not marry. That is Gege's philosophy. Now, I want to talk on the benefits of the men's benefits in marriage. Okay, let me not read so much. Let me start from verse 18 of Genesis chapter 2. Now the Lord God said, it is not good, sufficient, satisfactory that the man shall be alone. I will make him a helper meet, suitable, adapted, complementary for him. And out of the ground the Lord God formed every wild beast and living creatures of the field and every bird of the air, and brought them to Adam to see what he would call them. And whatever Adam called every living creature, that was his name. That was its name. And Adam gave names to all the livestock, and to the birds of the air, and to every wild beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found a helper meet, suitable, adapted, complementary for him. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and while he slept, he took one of his ribs, or a part of his side, and closed up the place with flesh. And the rib, or part of his side, which the Lord God had taken from the man, he built up and made into a woman, and he brought her to the man. Then Adam said, this creature is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of a man. Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother, and shall become united and cleave to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Compare it to Matthew chapter 19 verse 5, 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 16, Ephesians chapter 5 31 to 33. And the man and his wife were both naked, and we are not embarrassed or ashamed in each other's presence. 1. I want to speak about premarital sex and extramarital sex and having of children out of wedlock. It is not the will of God that both men and women should be having sex before marriage. It is not the will of God that men and women should be having extramarital sex, which is adultery. It is not the will of God also that people should be having children out of wedlock. All these things are men's choice. That is woman's choice, woman's desire, woman's will, and emanating from woman's lust. Lust, L-U-S-T. You now have written a book titled Lust and Their Problems. And it is important you read that book. So, anything that has to do with sex and having of children outside of marriage is a rebellion against the will and the purpose of God concerning sex life and children reproduction. So that is the benefit. It benefits the man, it benefits the woman. Sex life. The both party benefit from it. Marriage is really beneficial in every indication, both to the man and to the woman. But the man here is the context. Sex life, legitimate and divine endorsed sex life. Loneliness being cured. Marriage is made for companionship. And when two understanding people, which comprises the husband and the wife, are in marriage, they enjoy marriage. After all, without marriage, people quarrel. So that is as a result of human imperfection. Quarrels, misunderstanding, contention is not limited to marriage. It is a daily happening in all of the institutions, and all of these things resulting from human imperfection, human lust, human selfishness, human wickedness. But do men have any benefit in marriage? First of all, that good companionship, divine instituted companionship. Marriage is a means of worship. Marriage is a means of worshiping God. The man shall not be alone. God had not made the man to be the baby papa and continue to give birth to children here and there without getting married. The act of sex is a worship in marriage. But outside of marriage, it is idolatry. When the man and the woman are having their sex, they are worshiping God by doing that. In marriage, not outside of marriage. Not before marriage, not in infidelity, not in extramarital sex. But in proper marriage, sex is a means of worship. God had instituted it, and it is a means of procreation being legalized by God Himself. So to have children through marriage is a benefit both to the man and to the woman. In this companionship, it is beneficial to the man, it is also beneficial to the woman. Then marriage creates the first or primary avenue for man to begin to exercise his leadership upon fellow human beings. And that is the reason there are some organizations or institutions whereby a man cannot be given a certain promotion unless the man is married and having a responsible family, having a respectful wife, respectful children, having a very humble home before the man can be given such an honorable position to handle, both in the church and many other places. So, lack of marriage can limit a man to a certain degree in life. It is not only to the man or even to the woman, but the men are the context. Marriage benefits the men as their means of procreation, to have children, to have their wife as their companion. The problem is that is when the man is not responsible or the woman is not responsible. When either of the two does not comply to the divine principles and standard of marriage, that is where the problem lies. Then what about the successful marriage? Should we limit it to the broken marriage and the problematic marriages? What about the successful marriages? Because I certainly know that there are people who are running their marriages successfully. And some people had run their marriage successfully, and both the husband and the wife has passed away without a broken marriage. And some people remain faithful to each other, even though there will always arise some quarrel. But the way they handle the quarrel, reconcile, and continue is what matters. Because I can't believe that there is a marriage without trouble, without problem. As far as we are human beings, we will always make mistakes. And that mistake, if that mistake may not even be as a matter of sexual life, it can be just common mistake a person can make. And as far as you are dealing with human being, there will always be a reaction to that. But how we react and how we settle those problems is what matters, and that is what determines our levels of maturity. Men have their children through marriage and train their children. Men set the pace of being responsible. Men set the pace of living the good exemplary life when they can run a successful marriage. So these are the benefits men have in marriage. And the men are respected, even if not by people, but by God, for them being in marriage and being responsible in that marriage. It makes men to secure their respect and their honor. I'm talking on the aspect whereby the marriage is successful. I'm not talking now on a failed marriage or failed marriages. When the marriage is successful, the man has many things to benefit. Some men feel so comfortable when they are at home with their wives and children than when they are outside. It is when marriage is successful. Some men find it difficult to buy food outside to eat because their wife take good care of them at home, preparing good food for them and giving them the food with joy, with respect, and they enjoy it. To the extent, those days when we were young, we see some men, after eating in the house, they will still take some food from the house to move for their work. Or maybe during the afternoon, their wife will cook from the house and bring food to them in their shops or wherever, any means possible, either bringing it directly or sending one of their children or their house help to take the food to their husband. So as I speak, in some successful marriages, many men find it difficult to sit in a restaurant to spend their money to eat. Not because of the money, they have the money, but they find it difficult because they don't see any reason for that, because they are happy at home. And at home, their wife will cook more deliciously than even in the restaurant, because profit interest is also method in the food sold in the restaurant. But at home, any woman who can cook well does not have anything special to profit than to make her family happy. And they settle, they feel comfortable at home more than any other place. So these are the benefits, and that is that companionship. It is based on this issue that make Adam to become weak to Eve. Eve used humility to control Adam. And to the extent that Adam forgot that God is more authoritative than Eve. Humility. Eve was never insultive to Adam. It is through humility she controlled Adam. Adam began to believe that everything she does was all right, until God began to rebuke Adam. Adam never realized that Eve had done him wrong by giving him that prohibited fruit. While also Eve was doing it with her own innocent heart. thinking that that is the way forward, without knowing that she was erring. So, men had anything, even after God has sacked them from the Garden of Eden, these two couples continued their marriage, and they were still enjoying their marriage. Even in their mistake, they bear the responsibility of their mistake together, and they continued happily. They continued happily. It is even in their mistake, they were able to understand themselves and continue that marriage, and they never broke up. So to them, they have decided, with or without God, we'll continue to, even though we have fallen away, let us continue. It is the two of us that caused the problem, so let us bear it together. So when a man marries the bone of his bone and the flesh of his flesh, everything about marriage is of benefit, both to the man and to the woman. So the man benefits as much as the woman benefits. Some people may come with the logic, what about in the old age? The woman always convert the children and they forget about the man. It is because the woman is selfish. It is because the woman is selfish. It is not supposed to be like that. It is not supposed to be like that. However, I will advise that every man, even though your wife may be good, always prepare for your retirement. Don't always depend on your children as your retirement plan. Have your retirement plan, have your means where you can be taking care of yourself financially. Your children, I pray, and you work, that they should be great, but always have something that will bring in you money at your old age beside your children. It is very, very important. After all, Abraham handed over riches and wealth to Isaac. Isaac handed it over to Esau. Jacob ran away when he caused trouble and was afraid of his life, and he made his own wealth. He made his own wealth. But I'm talking about generational handover, handing them over godliness and the wealth and education, proper education that will make them to sustain the wealth and continue with it. So it is very, very important. So let me end the video here. Men have to benefit of everything beneficial marriage has to offer, as much as the women are to benefit. The problem is when selfish someone is a member of the marriage among the couple. When anybody is selfish, that is when the sabotage comes in. Normally, as God had made it, selfishness should not exist in marriage. Greediness should not exist in marriage. Hostility should not exist in marriage. Tyranny should not exist in marriage. Also, disrespect should not exist in marriage. These are the things that sabotage marriage. But when two matured and faithful people are in marriage, marriage is so sweet. Some people say marriage is a labor. Yes, it is a labor because it is a divine assignment. The labor there is for two of you to relate well and to train the children. The children should be your replacement. The children should take over from you. And the marriage should be run according to the will and purpose of God. And that marriage will form the family. The family is to be beneficial to the couple, to the children, to the community, and to humanity as a whole. That is the will of God for us. Until I come your way next time, I still remain your serviceable servant, Evangelist Ihimakala. I say to you, bye for now.